Yeah, it looked kind of cool. It's all good, Rotterdam. It's all good. I had mentioned earlier that you probably passed out. It happens, man. It happens. We've got 8.5 hours down, 15 and a half to go. I figured that also, Smiley. I don't doubt that. That's my favorite thing to do is to bore you. That's what I'm here for.
Well, now we can bowl together, right?
That 100%. No, no. I take it to heart. My heart is all kinds of little melted, frozen pieces. Yes, it is. I'm in his Discord now so that we can start the Starfinder here in about 4 minutes to 10 minutes, depending on if other people show up. Hey, that sounds good with me. Sounds good with me.
Hot. No, I just haven't turned it on. Because we're going to be like 40s again, 50s tomorrow. So on principle, I refuse to. How about you?
Hey guys, we will be getting started with the stream here in just a couple minutes, giving everybody a little bit of time to join up here, and then we will see what we get up to. Hey Spartan, how's it going tonight? So, Raki, once you get connected there, you remember how to, when we went down to the data button in the bottom right, and then modules, and then load all the things in there?
Yeah.
Go ahead and do that, and we'll give it a couple minutes to load on your end. Good, I'm glad to hear that, son. I do have Sirenscape running tonight, too, in case one or both of you feel like using it. I highly
What's
encourage
that?
it. Said I do have Sirenscape running tonight. So if you got it up and you have any issues, let it know.
Okay. I hear music right now, so I think it's working fine.
Cool. Perfect.
Did you have a character in mind already, Raki? Do you know what you want to play?
Are we doing the one shot with the prefab?
So we've basically got two options here. It's 8:30. I honestly have not heard from the other two people that said they were coming. So where we stand right now is we have you two, and I have one person who has committed to joining if there was spots open after tonight. So there is. That's a third. In order to get a full party, I'll need to seek out a fourth. But we have 2 weeks. I think that shouldn't be too terribly hard. If anybody has any suggestions along those lines, let me know. But as far as tonight goes, our 2 options are: I have a one-shot that is built to be kind of super goofy. You play these like little 6-armed furballs that are super friendly and like almost like if they were like if tribbles were sentient, right? So we can play that, and that would last for I'd say 3 to 4 sessions total. Or if you guys want, we can roll up characters this evening and just start the campaign on the next scheduled Tuesday. It's really up to you. I'm prepared for both.
What a DM.
It's
Yeah,
honestly thanks to Fantasy Grounds. So
I don't honestly care either way. I'm gonna be here for 15 more hours, so we can do whatever.
Jason, what do you think?
Yeah, I think as much as I kind of want to dive into the characters, I think I would benefit a lot from just learning fantasy and stuff like that. So I think maybe doing one shots, either the one session or the 4, doesn't matter. I think I would like to do that, so I can have a low stakes scroll on.
For sure. So we can do that. If you want to do the one shot, we have a couple ways we can run that. So it's built for 4. So you each can control 2 characters if you would like, or 2 characters can, I could run 2, I guess. It's up to you guys. I know the interface is new to you both, and Starfinder is new to everyone as well. So this tonight will be a learning session more than anything.
Okay. Yeah, it looks like it is, Pathfinder, and I know PC gaming 3.5, so I anticipate getting to it pretty quick. I'll just be like confused about all the terms for one.
Yeah, it's really a mesh between
I'm looking.
Pathfinder and 5e.
Okay.
Sorry, Racky, what were you saying?
I'm just trying to see if the game actually Starfinder crashed.
After you load those initial modules, it takes a little bit, and after about 5 minutes, if it's still laggy, it does help to turn or to kill Fantasy Grounds by exiting it and then coming back in. It was built for XP, so it's a miracle that it's running, but it's actually pretty phenomenal what they managed to squeeze out of it as well. How's the stream audio tonight? Sly, in particular, like the other players. You hear them all right? So for the campaign, what kind of characters were you guys thinking about? Why don't we chat about that a little bit while we're letting Raki load up.
Yeah. Well, I have
He is a little
mostly
quiet.
put together one of the space rat Yusoki, or how do you say that? Pilot operative. So kind of a skill monkey build. I'm not married to it, just the first one I thought of and I want to throw it together, so I'd have it mostly ready. But I think I could run a rogue pretty, I've never done that, so that could be.
How is he now? I raised him up a little bit. I think that could be fun. Yosoki are quirky little critters, and they're tough, you know? Very interesting history behind those little guys. The nice thing about Starfinder is really there is kind of one place where you need to make sure that your bases are covered, and that's Starship Combat. It's only a couple particular sets of skills that you kind of want to make sure you have at least a rank or so in. But beyond that, party composition generally doesn't matter because there's so much that can be done with magic in the Pathfinder era of this universe. But at this point, it's more of magic handles stuff that technology can't do efficiently or quickly, or So um, healing serums are just readily available everywhere and fairly cheap, to be honest. And with the stamina point system, it definitely allows for a nice buffer there as long as you're careful and take advantage of the cover and whatnot.
Yeah. Okay. And yeah, I remember you kind of saying that about the pilot. So I thought, unless somebody else wanted it, I could always take care of that part. He's going to start off with like 5. Actually, 4 decks, so 9. So
Cool, I'm glad it sounds better. If there's any other issues, let me know, because I want to make sure that it sounds good. How about you, Raki? What were you thinking?
The one that I was looking at is the Vesk. As far as race class, I haven't really looked too much at.
The Vesk are kind of neat. There's not a ton of history on them, other than that they're a relatively recent addition to the Pact Worlds. Really only joined to the. They really only signed the Pact in order to ally with the Pact Worlds and face the horde that was the swarm that was threatening them. Um, Prior to that, the Veskarium was at. They were engaged with the Pact Worlds in what was referred to as the Silent War, which was pretty much an unacknowledged, uh, you know, long border dispute that extended to really more than just colony fights. Entire colonies may be annihilated and significant uh, naval battles as well. Okay, I got Raki turned up to 200%. I already had him turned up a little bit, so
We'll see. Taking a look at the actual classes.
So, why don't we go through like a quick kind of crash course of the Fantasy Grounds interface as far as Starfinder is concerned? Is it working all right for you now, Raki, that you disconnected and reconnected?
Yeah, once I dropped out and came back, it's good. It took a second to launch though. Super.
Okay, cool. So you obviously see the chat on the left hand side, and then there's a bunch of buttons on your right. One of the most important ones, and something you'll kind of have open all the time, is in the top. There's some smaller buttons, and one of those is to cross swords. That's your combat tracker. What that does is, I'll go ahead and add the characters in this to it. Um, that's kind of the initiative and turn order tracker, but it can also be used as a tool for just playing even theater of the mind, because enemies are added into the combat tracker, and then when enemies can be targeted using the Fantasy Grounds interface by control clicking them, and you can do that to either their token or them in the combat tracker, and then roll your attacks or spells and whatnot against them, and then it'll automate whether or not they hit, and then you'll know whether or not to roll damage, and so on and so forth. Second thing that you don't really need to have open all the time, but is good to look at, is the party sheet. If you look, that's just right beside where the combat tracker was. And this, once I add everybody to it here, go. So this is where loot and experience is distributed. You can see in the inventory area when items or credits are added, or you guys find them in the form of loot, you will be able to click and drag these to your character sheets. And then we can use this as a selling interface as well, and it also has some GM tools that allow me to kind of see what you guys have as far as total wealth and whatnot. And then the order tab of this will probably not come into play in this one shot, but will come into play definitely throughout an extended campaign. This is kind of just a place where we can drop tokens on and quickly draw stuff up if we don't have a map, or if we need to establish a default marching order. There's a calendar, there's a button that says colors. You can click on that and change the color of your die if you would like, as well as the text color from white to black. There is a modifiers button, and if you click on that, this is how we can add some modifiers to die rolls. You can click like cover if you're attacking somebody with cover, and then when you attack, it automates the bonuses that they get. And there is an option there. You should see an option called effects. Effects come into play quite a bit in Starfinder, such as flat-footed is a fairly common effect that does a -2 bonus to your, or -2 penalty to your AC. It doesn't happen exactly the same as Pathfinder, where like everybody's flat-footed at the beginning of your turn, or at the beginning of until you've acted, but it does come into play. Ones that do come into play a lot are sets or conditions like off kilter, which is something that gives you penalties to attack and whatnot, and will happen if you fail to stabilize yourself when moving in zero gravity. And then there's a whole bunch of little goblins with labels underneath of them on the right. One that you guys will never really need is the booms, but the one that'll you'll probably be hitting a lot is the PC button. And if you guys open that up, you'll see it gives you a character selection screen. Now normally you'll just see the characters that are available to you, and usually that's only going to be your character. In this case, it's the start of the campaign, and so there's characters there. Uh, why don't we go ahead and take a look at character sheets? So, what do you guys? How do you guys want to play this one shot here? Do you each want to take two, or do you guys want to take two and then have two GNPCs for this session? It's up to you.
Any preference?
No preference to me.
Okay. How about two each? So you can just focus on the enemies.
Okay. So the characters we have a mystic, a soldier, a mechanic with an AI, not a drone, and an envoy. Why don't you each grab two of those? Nako is the soldier, Quonks is the mechanic, Gazigaz is the envoy, and Dekoyo is the mystic.
You want the soldier or the
Nikoyo is the mystic.
Yeah, Dekoyo's the mystic. So right now it looks like Raki has the envoy and the mystic, and Friend of Zombies has the soldier and the mechanic. Does that sound good? You guys could also, if you guys want to try this, you could swap next session even and like try different characters. I mean, it's entirely up to you. This one shot is completely designed to really teach you and walk you through the basics of Starfinder. Introduces mechanics one at a time, and the classes are kind of, you got a spellcaster and it's kind of varied. Everybody has different abilities. So the goal of this is to just have fun and do whatever. But we can talk about that later. What I want you guys to do is look at your character sheets, and I'll tell you a little bit about Skittermanders while you guys take a look at first I'd say take a look at the notes tab of each of these, and there is some notes on all four of these critters, where they came from, and kind of a little bit about what kind of personality they are. See, Skittermanders come from a planet in the Vesk area. Now, Vesk are really kind of, they're very stoic and military and honor-oriented species. And so these Skittermanders that they encountered populating one of their planets in their home system are really everything the opposite in almost every way to the Vesk. They're tiny, they're less than 25-pound creatures. They're furry, and there's no connection between like parents as to what gets the color of their fur. It's just, it seems to be random. They all have 6 arms. Now, mechanics-wise, this means as long as you let, make sure that the other players and I am aware, you can have multiple things in your hands. So, for example, Nako has a Dashko, which is like, and it's a flaming ember Dashko, so it's like kind of like a flaming battle axe type thing, but it's got one side. That only takes 2 hands. That leaves another 4 to be doing whatever. You have your action economy, but that doesn't mean you can't be prepared by, if you're low on health, you can still hold your Dashko and pull out a serum. Or Dekoyo could be loading sedatives into one of his darts. That needler gun right there can be loaded with various poisons and things you can you can load those darts up and cause effects on enemies. So do take note of that. Your guys' inventory is all laid out for you. Now, if you look at the inventory tab of your character sheet, you'll see everything in there. A lot of this stuff, is offensive or defensive, like frag grenades or freebooter armor or your weapons. But you won't. If you want information about them, you can click on the little Starfinder emblem to the right. But this isn't where we really get any attack rolls or anything like that. You'll want to take note of things like batteries or other ammunition, because they will need to be recharged, and so that is definitely a factor that will come into play during a long-term campaign. If you're out in the wilderness, where are you getting your ammunition from? Something to think about. The next tab of your character sheet, the abilities tab, talks about a lot of things about your guys' characters, and there's a lot to take in. So I'll give you guys some time here to kind of take a peek at the different abilities. In particular, something that they're all going to have in common is the racial trait of Grappler, which gives a +2 bonus to grappling, and the Hyper. Once per day, Skittermanders can take an extra move action. The things that they're all going to have different are feats. Generally, if the feat is like a skill focus or something, I have that built into the sheet already. But your class abilities are going to be different. For example, Quonks, you, as a mechanic with the Exocortex, the artificial intelligence, you can do combat tracking. So as long as you declare an enemy, you can get a +1 modifier on attacks to him to him or her when you do attacks. And that's just it's a bonus action, or no, as a move action during combat, you can designate that foe. But you can get that information by looking at combat tracking and clicking on the little emblem there. So why don't you guys take a couple minutes and look over your respective characters and ask if you have any questions or comments. So I want to make sure you guys know your characters, and as we play, I'm not going to tell you how to play your characters, but I will provide constructive feedback after encounters. Is how we were doing it during when I played this with my other Starfinder group, because we are all learning the rule set, and it's definitely new and different for everyone. Whenever you guys are done perusing your abilities, just tick the box in chat and we'll know that you can move along. I hope you're enjoying the stream, Sly. It definitely is probably not that entertaining right now, but it is important to me that players know how to use the program and their characters to the best of their ability. I like to think that I'm a tough GM, and I try and push my players to their limits as far as combat is concerned. I think I can do better roleplay wise, but in order for me to be able to push them, they gotta know their characters.
Actually, I did have a question.
Yeah.
For whenever you okay, I don't know if it's the same for every class, but the rogue analog, the operative, um, he gets 2 skills that he specializes in. He gets the feat skill focus, but it doesn't give you the bonus to the check. It gives you bonus to inside checks involving the chosen skill. So, like, when would that apply?
So, insight is, as far as I know, right? There's no actual insight checks, and so the way I interpret that skill is you get a +3 bonus to that skill when you're trying to determine the equivalent to insight, which is like a recall knowledge to me, which is pretty much every time you're using that skill.
I feel like it would have to be distinct because otherwise they just phrase it as +3 to skill.
Let me look in the rule set and see what I can find while you guys are looking through that stuff. Insight bonus represents improved performance of a given activity from either specialized competence or a certain form of precognitive knowledge. That's the definition of insight. Insight bonus.
Could you read that again?
Yeah, it says an insight bonus represents improved performance of a given activity from either specialized competence or a certain form of precognitive knowledge.
Okay. I guess they're just a way to keep track of all the bonuses that they're coming in from.
Well, because I know that there's circumstantial bonuses, and so maybe they're using insight because that to me reads like improved performance. So that's all the time.
Yeah.
So I know circumstance bonus, and if you actually go to the reference manual, which you can access, Racky, I don't know if I've went over this with you yet, but in the data button in the bottom right, you pull that up, and in that library window, you can click on the Starfinder core rulebook under core rules. Now, the stuff that shows there isn't everything. The way to get everything is you scroll down to where it says reference manual. Now, you click on that and it'll open the reference manual, but we're going to be looking at this a lot as we play, right? So you can actually click and drag that little icon down to the hotbar on the bottom of your screen, and then it's on a hotbar. That's what that thing at the bottom of your screen is, and most stuff can be clicked and dragged to it to look back later. When you open the reference manual, it has a search bar at the bottom too that'll allow us to. It's really nifty. I haven't needed to really have an SRD yet. It definitely functions really nice. I really like the search feature of the Fantasy Grounds interface. Maybe I should put a picture up on the stream so that we're not just looking at an emblem of Starfinder, huh? Let's find an image. Ooh, what would you like to see? Should we put up a map of the Pact Worlds? Let's do that. Oh, you want to see a Gazzy Gaz? I don't have any big pictures of him. I just have a picture of like a regular Skittermander, unfortunately. What do you guys think of the two Skittermanders that you have as far as the abilities go?
Um, you can definitely tell the abilities are taken from Pathfinder.
For sure. Envoy definitely translates to Bard very nicely. That's essentially what they are, it seems. And then Mystic is definitely the cleric, or the priest.
I don't know what a ninja would map to. I think it's a bit more unique, but soldier is a fighter.
I mean, for me, it'll be testing it out in live action.
For sure. So I'm sure you guys have both seen the main tab of your character sheet. That's got a lot of information on it that will become very relevant down the road. But the other tab that you're going to spend a lot of time on is the Actions tab. If you guys go there, it'll be a little different for different people. Now, for Gazzy Gaz, for example, I don't have there's no way to really program the Envoy improvisations in there yet. I'm working on that. So those things will work through. You basically call them out, and then people get the bonuses. And then the other thing that you guys will see is it does list your batteries or your ammunition, and then if you look, like each of you will have a different firearm. I think even Nako has one, but there's a bunch of little check marks beside the uses, which is how many rounds are in your clip, because it does take an action or move action to reload. And so when you fire, if it doesn't automatically take one of those, you'll want to make sure to tick that box so we're tracking that. But basically, how you'll attack is using this sheet. And so we'll look at work across the top to kind of explain what each of these columns is. So you see the first column is name, that's pretty self-explanatory. The other one is M/R, which will change from melee to ranged. This is a very ranged oriented game, to be honest. But you can indicate that an item is ranged or melee. You can actually click on the arrow or the axe and change it back and forth. The next column is for a single attack, and that's kind of self-explanatory. You're making one attack at an enemy, and it shows your bonuses that you have to those attacks. The column to the right of that is your full attack. Now, a full attack, basically every character can just make 2 attacks. The catch there is you take a -4 penalty. You still get all your bonuses, so if you have like a +4, you'll get, or it's a -2 penalty. Well, maybe it's -4. I'll look it up here after I've done explaining. Either way, you make the full attack, and when you make that attack, it'll automatically deduct the penalty when you roll, but you're able to basically attack twice just by default. And then to do the damage, you look in on the weapons that have damage. It'll indicate 1d6E, which stands for energy, and then it'll also have a critical damage, like the Azimuth laser rifle. On a critical, that will do burn damage to a creature, which actually happens every turn until it gets put out by them taking an action or a fire extinguisher. Full attack is a -4 penalty to the attack roll. By the way, you can do a lot of different stuff on your actions when we play. There's covering fire, harrying fire, taking cover, charging, fighting defensively. It's the action economy is split up a little different than 5e, but it's very similar to Pathfinder. I think you two seem a little more experienced with Pathfinder than I am, so hopefully that'll lend to us knowing how to play this together. That being said, that's kind of a crash course in the character sheet. Do you guys have questions so far?
I don't think so right now.
Pretty Gucci, man.
There you go. That's an attack roll. Alright, well, we'll go ahead and get started here. And we will kind of learn as we go. So, a little bit of kind of background info for where we're at right now is you four work as a crew for a Vesk salvage merchant named Nako Nechkin. He has kind of acquired each of you in your own way. Each of your bios says something a little, has information about how he met you, but he has kind of a little bit of a liking to Skittermanders, unlike most Vesks. But today, what began as a pretty dull day aboard this ship, the Clutch, the only ship that this Vesk owns, and what has been all four of your homes for the past year or so, your boss brings the ship out of Pact World space and into some of the Void Beyond, looking for maybe a derelict space station or some remains of a forgotten starship to pick through. And suddenly, with a buzzing chime, the ship's computers registered a starship drifting in the region. And so Nako Nechkin rushed to the captain console and initiated a scan. And all five of you see this image of the ship appear on the screen, and it's this large, ornate, green starship with brass accents on the outside. It looks abandoned, but ill-suited to be looking like this, this far from the Pact Worlds. So Nako Nechkin quickly pulled on his spacesuit, grabbed a set of tools, turned, and said, "This looks like an easy enough job. You lot stay here and keep an eye on the Clutch." And he looks at Quamps when he said this, and he said, "Try not to repair anything while I'm away. I should be back in a couple nanoseconds." And then he takes off. At the point that we start off here, about 2 hours have passed since he's departed, and Nako Nechkin hasn't responded to your guys' communications in in about an hour and a half, which is really unusual. He usually goes out alone, but he stays in touch with you guys throughout. He's kind of a light-hearted Vesk, to be honest. And so he jokes with you guys as Conks, fiddles around and Gaz messes with his beard. So the four of you are, the ship is pretty small, and this other ship that Nikonechkin went to is about 200 yards, or 200 feet, sorry, between you two. He free floated. Um, but your ship is currently functional. It's just Nikonechkin hasn't been responding to you. What do you do?
I didn't quite follow. He's been out there long enough that we're starting to get worried. Is that what?
For sure. He's been gone about 2 hours, and he hasn't been answering your comms for an hour and a half, which is very unusual for him.
Quonks takes a look at the communication devices in the ship to make sure they're working right.
Yeah. Go ahead and give me a computers check, Holmes.
Okay.
And so to do that, this is one tab that we didn't go over on your sheet, and that's the skills tab. There's a look, it has the skills check marks beside them if they're part of your class skills, how many ranks you have in skills, which these characters, as put out by Paizo, break the rules, but that's anyway. Um, and then the part that we will concern ourselves with is the total column. A couple ways to roll. You can double click on one of these totals. You can click and drag it into chat. If you just click and drag it onto your screen, it'll roll it, but it's not going to show me, and it doesn't count as a roll. um, so if it's red, it means that whether or not it's a class skill, it's untrained, and you can't roll it untrained.
Gotcha.
All right. So you check, you dig around, uh, and it seems like all of the communications are working. Um, the sensors seem to be working and everything on your ship, at least. There's not a lot you could do on the ship without um, piloting, but you could use like you could like try and operate the sensors to see if you can see any life signs on the other side or something like that. That is an option.
Yeah, I think I would like to do that. You want me to give you another roll, another computer's roll, or?
Yep, that's a computer's check. So upon scanning, Nako Nechkin didn't notice this when he scanned initially. You were standing there and you watched, but you scan some more and you see about a dozen life signs. Most of these life signs are concentrated in an area on the ship's aft starboard side. Do you guys both know
Left
which
side.
left is your port side? It's easy to remember. Port has 4 letters like left. Starboard is your right hand side, which has the
And
same
aft is the
amount of
back.
letters as right hand. And then aft is the back, 4 is the front.
And
But
stern is at the middle.
yes, I believe so. Uh, you do spot Nako Nechkin's life signs. They're visible, but the only thing you're really able to tell is you can't pinpoint his location, but the vitals that you got back, he seems to be in a semi-conscious state. And you also, with that 23, determine that there's an additional anomalous energy signature, some coming from like the ship's center somewhere.
Guys, the comms work, but Nico's broke. Also, something's going wrong.
Do we know where he's at on the ship?
He's outside, behind us. I think is that right?
You aren't able to pinpoint Nako Nechkin's location. You can tell he's inside the ship somewhere, but that's it.
Yeah, I think we want to go hunt him down. Do we know a rough area?
So you guys go check the airlock, and you can see that it looks from the airlock door. You can only see one airlock on the ship itself. The other one, at least from where you're standing, looks to be open. So you figure you probably went in there.
Sure.
Party in the aft. That's right. That's
I
right.
think Quant is gonna man the sensors and see if we figure anything else out. And Nako's gonna go to the airlock.
Okay.
And I'll send both of my guys, Gazi and Dekoyo, to the airlock too.
So it's not. It doesn't look like the other ship is too far away from you, just a couple hundred feet. It appears Mako, Gazagaz, and Dekoyo that uh, Mako Nechkin must have just pushed out of the airlock and free floated over there. You know he doesn't have any thrusters, but there doesn't seem to be any gravity. You know, you guys aren't orbiting anything. That's what's so curious about this thing. But further scans, you're not able to tell anything else up there, Quamps. You try a couple more times to pin Mako Nechkin down, but it seems at one point it's in the fore, another point it seems to be like outside of the ship, and another point it seems to be in. I'm not sure what's going on there.
He's gone quantum.
Quantum spanner. And it was a quantum flux spanner, I think, that Quant says. Gazzy, so what do you do? How do you feel with your boss here gone for a while? Hasn't been answering you, and now this information.
I mean, I kind of want to locate him because it's weird that he's flipping all over. So curious.
Do
He's
we?
got he's got the arc pistol in one hand, baton in another hand. Top hand closest to the face, he's got the mirror, and then he's also got the serum of healing. So he looks like a madman running through this airline.
He's ready for anything.
Right, just don't touch his beard.
All right, Mako, what do you have to say in this moment?
Gotta secure the airlock. We don't know what that is. And he's definitely has. What does he have? The unique weapon to. The name of it.
The Ember Flame Doshko?
Yeah, yeah. He definitely has that out. Do some
So,
practice.
just one thing to note, because I don't know, I don't think I've discussed it with both of you. Just FYI, all armor in Starfinder, like your base armor, has the ability. It's vacuum capable essentially for a period of time. You don't have to put on a spacesuit or anything. So you're able to go into an airlock, and do your thing, and then move, or what have you, if you'd like. That being said, what do you guys do?
Well, we're headed to the airlock, right? So that kind of depends what we see there.
Yeah, so at your airlock, clear space in between the ship, the two ships, and you see, this ship looks pristine. Like it hasn't been out here very long, and you can see through through the distance, the other airlock lies open.
So Dekoya is gonna try to make his way over to the other across.
Yeah, Nico's right behind him. And I'm
Concern.
gonna go ahead and have Quonks begin to join these.
Okay. How about Gazigaz? Does Gazigaz head out too?
Yeah,
Following the others?
after he primps a little bit, he's like, I guess I'll join.
Okay. So Dekoyo and Nako push off, and Gazigaz stands there, primping his beard a little bit, and Quonks shows up just in time. Quonks, give me a perception check real quick.
Perception. He perceives.
All right, so you hear, you start hearing some plinking, and then after a moment, you realize what happens just as Nako and Dekoyo need to give me a reflex saving throw. You guys start getting pelted with these micrometeors that are hitting the ship. It looks like these two are passing through a little bit of a storm. Your reflex saving throw is on your main tab of your character sheet.
Not the best.
Oof. Okay, so the two of you take some damage. So Gaz and Quonks, you see Nako and Dekoyo getting, kind of hit several times. Nako a couple more times than Dekoyo. They look to be drifting a little bit off to the side, but their trajectory is still on point to hit to at least hit the ship.
Do we take some damage?
And then each of you takes 10 bludgeoning damage. So normally for like attacks and stuff, it'll auto track damage. In this case, because this is like a micrometeor storm, and then there's some spell effects I've found that do this, it doesn't keep track of the damage automatically. So this is a good opportunity for you guys to pull up the main page of Nako and Dekoyo's sheets. And the very bottom of that page tracks your HP and your SP. And it tracks that via fatigue and wounds. So your SP goes first. So each of you basically would click in the fatigue box and type 10, and it'll subtract 10 from your current stamina points.
And this isn't okay. So AC is going to be to hit. So never mind. There's no subtraction. For
No, because this was just a reflex throw.
Gotcha.
So you do that, and then when you type 10 for the fatigue, you'll see your current will go down. Okay, perfect.
I do have some damage reduction in that same tab. I have like damage reduction of 5. Does that?
Oh, you do? Where's that?
2 blocks over after it's fatigue mod, leg space, damage reduction, current 5. I can apparently spend or use it. Oh, I'm sorry.
No, that's your. Sorry, that should actually be 5. Oh, you double clicked it. That's your resolve points. Yeah, sorry about that. I was wondering what you were talking about. The DR, you can actually click there and type that manually.
Yeah, I just noticed that from stopping.
Okay. Yeah, if you had damage reduction, yes, it would apply in this case. That being said, I do want to note for you guys that have taken some damage to your stamina. Short rests in Starfinder are 10 minutes long. During that short rest, you can expend a resolve point, as long as you still have at least 1/4 of your total resolve points remaining, to regenerate all of your stamina. That being said, after getting hit by this micrometeor storm and taking this damage, you Nako and Decoil, you guys hit the land on the other side. Quonks and Gazagaz, you see them make it safely. And so you guys are able to slowly make your way to the airlock, if you would like.
Yes. Quas is going to spend 1 minute trying to see if there's anything that he can scrounge to make, like a booster system or grappling hook or anything like that, to get across quicker and safer.
The
Yeah,
micro shower is done, right?
yeah, it's past now. You guys don't hear that clanking anymore. Quonks, yeah, this is a salvaging ship, so there's scrap everywhere. You see some cabling that's just sitting in the airlock, probably intended by POSHA, which is Pact World's Occupational Safety and Health Administration, um, for use in situations like this. So you could probably hook it up to the ship and at least be tethered to this, and then tether yourself, on the other side once you get there.
Yep, that's happening. Do you need to roll for that, or just can I just tether for free?
No, you can if you can use that, and then you're able to hook it up and work to the other side with it, and then
Okay.
you guys can hook to that, moving back and forth if you want.
Well, that happens and they cross, or Quas crosses.
Guys, do you follow?
Yep, going right across, slowly, making sure the beard stays intact and not a hair misplaced.
I'm going to give you guys a map real quick. It'll take a moment, it'll load up, and it'll be big and dark. You shouldn't see anything on it. Give me a moment, and I'll unmask it a little bit. There we go. That'll do for now. So you guys make it to this other airlock, and the door on this airlock has been forced open. Um, but the interior door looks to be intact, and the door, while having been forced open, it looks like Nako Nechkin just didn't bother to close it. He had to break into it, but it doesn't appear to be damaged. There's a map now. Slide. How about that? What do you guys do? Standing in this airlock.
Nico powers through. Is the door? Can he get in? You said the Nico longboard. Nico, what's the big guy's full?
Nako Nechkin.
Nico Nechkin. So he went through and everything's clear to go. So Nico, follows. Head on a swivel.
Okay. So you just open the door to the southern end of the room and step on and power on through?
Mm.
Okay. Give me a sec here, and we'll unmask that one. There we go. Let me put some tokens on the board for you guys. Your tokens. You guys place your tokens kind of wherever you have them right now. Why don't we start in the airlock, and then we'll kind of sort it out from there. These don't snap to squares or snap to grid, so you'll need to count the squares to move. But I can limit you guys if you want, and it'll measure out distances. But that being said, Nako, upon opening this room, here's what you see. This square, this fairly small square chamber is pretty bare in the way of furnishings. The walls and ceiling are a clean white, while the floor is made of this silvery metal. 4 cages are stacked into the 2 forward corners of this room, and a heavy door leads into from the airlock that you just stepped through. There's a flickering holographic sign reading "Welcome Guests" over the door to the starboard side. And immediately upon just taking all this in, you look up to see 3 robots moving towards all 4 of you, and the one in the lead says, "Error. Pets must be placed in approved carriers before boarding the Emerald Imperium. Please initiate containment protocols." And they all kind of reach towards you.
Let's go.
Yeah. Nico jumps in a box and bats her hands away.
There we go. Alright. So, that being said, roll initiative. The way we do this is double click it on your character sheet. It'll roll it and put you guys in the turn order. And it auto sorts you and everything. Alright. So, these 3 robots, 2 of them reach towards you, Nako. And they attempt to hit you with these sparking batons that they have. And they both miss you. They both rolled critical failures there. Pretty great.
Very shoddily made robots.
Right. The third robot pulls up its arm and aims towards the airlock and fires a pulse caster pistol in the direction of Decoyo and hits. You guys can see in the chat here, it should be showing, I believe, hits or misses, which is pretty cool. And then when it does hit, it deals 2 non-lethal damage to you, Decoyo, and you can see it absorbed it into your stamina points, and it auto-tracked that. That being said, that's the 3 turns of the critters. Decoyo, you are first up in the player turn order. What do you do?
All right. The one that shot at me, I am going to throw a telekinesis projectile.
Telekinetic projectile. So you grab something. What do you grab in this room? This is kind of what looks to be like a standard kind of greeting room. There's no desk in here. There's just a couple cages and some other items within this welcome sign.
Whatever's the biggest, the cage. If it's
There's an object within.
Looks like it's
There's a 5-pound object in this room. Tell me what it is and what you do with it.
we're gonna throw the cage at him.
Okay.
Let me find the spell because it's gone. And you said it was this one down here by the door.
Yeah, the one by the door. Creature 2. Here, hold on. There you go. Now, if you guys, so what you can do here is, let's see, that's a spell. So you hurl an object. Okay. Looking at that spell on your actions tab, if you just click the little magnifying glass to the side of it, it shows the details about it. So in order to cast that, you roll the attack, and so you can click the little sword next to attack, and you can actually drag it onto that token and it'll roll it against that token. All right, so Decoyo picks this. You guys see basically this cage just pick up out of nowhere and fling at the robot in the corner, and it bounces off and hits the floor. Let me take advantage of the turn system here. So, if you guys have your combat tracker up, which you'll need to have up, you can look. I just moved through the turns because I should have been tracking this before, but it means that it's Decoyo's turn. I have it set as Decoyo's turn. And with Decoyo, at the end of your turn, what you can do is click the little down arrow in the bottom left corner, and it passes it to Quonks. And now we know, Quonks, you're up. What do you do?
Okay, do I have? I know there's two guys in front of me. Do I have a clear shot on that door robot from where Quantum?
Yes, you do.
Okay. How do I do the effect on him? The what's it called?
Your
Combat tracking.
exocortex.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Combat tracking on that.
So, what if this was like an extended campaign? We build this in to be a little more automated.
We'll just do a +1.
Yeah. So if you look, what you do is down in the bottom left, there's a little thing that says modifier, and you can click on that, and it should allow you. Hold on. You click in there and you just type like 1, and it'll add 1 to your roll.
Sorry, bottom left
of Fantasy Grounds. There's a little. It says next to your die.
I was looking bottom left of Quonk's window.
Oh, sorry. But yeah, you just click in there and hit 1, and it'll do that. It'll add that, and then what you can do is you can actually means that it's Quonks' turn. You can control click that one that you want to target, and it'll target. It should target that creature, and then yeah, there you go. So if you look in the combat tracker, it says target security robot observer class 2, and now you could just double click your attacks, and it'll roll it automatically because you haven't targeted. So you gotta, when you roll those on the character sheet there, you click.
Oh, I hit the 2 hit, not the damage.
Yeah.
Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yep. So go ahead and roll a 2 hit. All right. So you hit this robot, and this laser bolt deals 6 damage. You see one of the sensors shatter and stops glowing. You can see that it's sparking. It looks wounded, perhaps.
As a mechanic, I think that looks wounded. Mako is.
Let's see if I can make this map a little bigger. That'd be a little light, right?
He's going to try for a double on the right. So 1 hit on that.
Yep, and then you can just roll damage.
Oh shit, okay. I thought. Oh.
It's alright that you passed your turn. It'll still let you roll damage. There you go. So, now this is where we learn another way to apply damage. Because Nako didn't have one of those creatures targeted, right? And we can see you were doing Robot 1. So now you have it rolled. You can actually click and drag that from chat onto Robot 1.
Cool.
So you guys see Nako step forward after these 2 robots are hitting at him, and he swings his Dashko once, and this robot hovers up and manages to dodge, but the Nako comes in again and hits this thing square in one of its appendages, and it falls to the ground, kind of sparking. And that brings us to Gazzy Gaz. You're up.
We're gonna hit homeboy that hit decoy.
Okay. So before you attack, do you plan to move on this turn?
Nope, we're using the pistol.
Okay. As an envoy, one thing I would recommend using whenever you can is your improvisations. You've got a couple. In this case, if you're going to fire but don't plan to move, you can use the Get 'em improvisation to give you and your allies a +1 bonus to attacking a specific enemy, and it just uses your move action, so you can do that and attack, and then until your next round, everybody gets a +1 on that guy.
And is that multiple use, like a?
Yep, these are like cantrips basically. So I kind of think of them as like kind of really, for envoys, really great one-liner opportunities because you can do these. You could do this every turn if you're not moving. It expires each round, but you can renew it each round. You just need to do something that encourages your allies to get them.
Okay, so it's 1+1 morale, but
Yeah. So when you use that, everybody will just be able to add a +1 to their attack rolls against this guy. So that's 5% bonus.
I did play with a bard, and every time he used Vision's tongue, he threw out a unique insult. It was pretty impressive.
Yeah. What does it sound like? Are you going to use that, Yazzie Gaz?
yeah, for him it would be more of a war cry than anything musical, because he's angry. There's like 3 hairs on the beard that are out of place. He can see it in the mirror.
Let's hear that war cry.
Yeah, I don't have a war cry. I've been going for 10 hours, brother. I still got I still got 12 more to go.
All right. I'll cut you some slack at this time.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
All right.
How about this? Rawr.
That's good enough for a
Wow.
Skittermander. That is fearsome. So go ahead and if you were following along in the bottom right or the bottom left of Fantasy Grounds, you can click down in that little modifier box, type a 1. It'll add that +1 for you for your attack roll, and I'll go ahead and fix the title of that improvisation for you.
Don't know how to stop the push to talk from coming through there.
That I don't know, but it's alright. I got you sorted. Yeah, so go ahead and roll your attack with your +1 bonus.
Alright, the attack is different than the spells for me. I don't see the attack button.
So on Gazgaz, you'll see right to the right of Arc Pistol, there's a column that says single, and it has a +4. And then you'll see a column that says full, which is 2. Now you can't do a full action because, well, I think a full attack uses a full move, or a full turn. But if you want to attack him, you would just double click it right there. So you hit, and then you can, where it has the damage, you can, roll the damage on that. I think the damage may be broken. Nope, it's working. Right? 1d6 equals 2. Yeah. Alright, so you fire, Gazgaz shouts his little war cry of exhaustion. He's been up for a long time, working on his beard for the day, not to mention some of his newest accessories. And so he kind of grunts, and fires off this arc pistol, and hits this creature for 2 damage, and it's sparking pretty heavily now. However, which creature is this? Robot 1. So Robot 1 uh, swings to hit Nako. Oh no, okay. I was thinking he had a different attack on this. So he swings at Nako. Let's see. And hits Nako for 1d3 damage. 9 damage. You guys see Nako get hit, and Quonks and Gazigaz, where Nako got hit in the shoulder, you can see that like that upper arm is kind of hanging limply at his side. And that brings us to Robot 2, who fires his Pulse Caster, this time at Gazigaz, and hits for 4 electricity damage. But Gazigaz manages to shrug it off with its stamina. The third robot turns, seeing that a couple shots have come out of this airlock, and it says, "Error, error, pets must be contained," and it fires a grenade off in the direction of the airlock. This, Nako, is going to give you an opportunity attack.
Yeah, that's happening. Do I get to choose what it is? And it's the one on the bottom.
Yeah, it's the one just south, just towards the starboard side of the ship of Nako. Okay, so you hit it.
Damage.
So as it fires this grenade off, Nako shouts and swings its Dashko and hits it. However, the grenade fires into this room. And so Nako, or not Nako, sorry. That was against Decoyo. Decoyo is affected by this. Gazigaz and Quonks. All of you guys need to. So you guys all get hit by this grenade. We need a reflex saving throw. You're looking at 10 to beat this. I'm reasonably certain I just butchered how grenades work. Okay, so all of you guys. So this grenade hits the ground, basically dead between Decoyo and Quonks, and you both look at it with this kind of worried look on your faces, and it explodes in this sticky mess. Just hits, the stringy mess hits all around the room, but somehow you guys manage to dodge out of the way. And that brings us to Decoyo. I need to read grenades. I think I butchered that.
I bet it's not both rolls. I bet it's just reflex.
I don't know what the +9 bonus is. Anyway, Coil, you're up.
It
Alright.
was +9 to DC.
We are
For the
going
beard,
to
indeed.
pull
Sorry,
out
I
the
missed
needler
that.
pistol.
I got a little into combat. I've been trying to get better at descriptions while I'm doing combat.
Same one that attacked her.
All right, this one's sparking pretty heavily. It's one of its appendages is hanging pretty limply, and there's chunks on the floor. Fire away, Decoil. Full attack. So you fire 2 times, 2 darts off. Were you? Well, it doesn't really matter. But make sure on the turns of Quonks and Nako that you guys add your +1 bonus.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the +1's not on there for him either.
No, but you rolled a -1 and a 6, so it's
Yeah, not gonna help.
yeah, yeah. You fire, and the two darts just ping wildly across the room. One kind of almost hits it. The other like flips through tufts of fur above Mako's head and buries itself into a crate behind him. All right, Quonks, you're up. So you get +2 to
Mm-hmm.
this if you
I'm
attack
gonna
him.
move up first, up in the little into the area, and I am going to take a shot.
Man, I totally butchered grenades there. Oh, goodness gracious. I need to be a better
It was a
DM.
shitty shot.
You step forward and you're concentrating on maintaining your target lock. Like across your vision, it's kind of just a little bit red, and there's like a crosshair on this robot. But you step forward and you have to kind of jump around this mess to keep from getting it tangled in your fur, and so you lose tracking and you fire off before locking back on, so you miss, unfortunately. Names? Names of
So
what?
sad.
Mako, you're up.
Mako is gonna go for I think just the same.
So Mako swings and, with a cry, cleaves this robot from underneath, and with a shower of sparks and a little bit of debris, it falls to the ground. It's unable to fly anymore.
How how does disengage work in Pathfinder? It is a shift one move, or is this a to not occur attacks of opportunity?
I believe that's called a guarded step. Let's look that rule up and see. This careful movement allows you to move 5 feet as a move action without provoking attacks of opportunity. So it's a 5-foot step.
Yeah, that takes all your movement. I'm gonna take
Yep.
a guarded step. Port.
Okay. So you hop down off of this crate that you apparently were standing on,
Mm-hmm.
and duck behind it a little bit, maybe. I assume. I mean, you're
Yeah, I
partially
think that's
behind it.
I'm gonna get some partial cover if possible.
Yeah. All right. That would grant you partial cover. Get creative with your cover, guys. You're gonna want it in the long term. Um, mm, so yeah, on if when creatures attack you, make sure and holler out, and I'll assign partial cover. Gazzy Gaz, you're up.
And can I tell how how well Nico's doing health wise, being an envoy?
Uh, Let me look at it.
I mean, if he can't, as a
So
sentient being, I
you
can
can
just say,
see, yeah, you can see a little bit of his fur is singed, but like his back's to you. You could shout at him though and see.
Right on. I would, make sure he's good before taking any further action.
I'm fine. It's just a flesh wound.
All right, so we're gonna use it on Dekoyo, and we're gonna throw inspiring boost for 8 stamina.
Okay, cool. That's a neat little ability that allows you to just regain stamina points in the middle of the battle, which is kind of neat.
Yeah, that is nice.
And you did note that, yeah, you did. Good. Perfect. And is that a move or a standard action? Looks like a standard action. So you're able to still take a move action as well, Gazigath. So you can move, or you can use your Get 'em in Envoy improvisation. Oh man, I keep
Is D
forgetting.
and D or is Discord acting up?
I just heard is Discord acting up.
All right, I'm gonna use get him.
Okay. Which one are you
The
using to get him on? Robot 2, I assume, the one you have targeted?
yeah, we're about to.
Okay. Robot Gaz grunts another tired war cry after inspiring Decoyo.
Oh, let me do this. Sorry about that.
Alright, so robot number 2, it pulls back. I want to double check the grenade rule here. Because these, I know you guys have some grenades, and this confused me when we were doing this before. Um,
It looks like you actually do have to make an attack roll to make sure you hit your target, and then you have like a miss grid.
okay, okay. Do you find that in the reference manual, or are you looking at like an SRD?
245.
245. Weird. That's a weird concept. One that I am gonna choose to fire at Quonks with, not the grenade, but the uh, Pulsecaster pistol. It fires off and it hits Quonks for 2 non-lethal electricity damage. The other one aims at Nako, who just disengaged with him and ducked.
Something like cover.
Yep. I think this modifier, this will work right. We'll test this out. But it fires its pistol at you, or at Nako. Okay. Yep. It looks like it counted that in because I see the attack and then cover -2. Yep. And then it took the modifier off. Cool. Neato. So it hits Nako, and Nako, you take 3 non-lethal damage. Coil, you're up. Got your exocortex. No, you're not the exocortex. You are the mystic. Sorry. Coil, you're up.
Yep, just taking a look here.
Man, I really need to learn those grenade rules. That's tripping me up, tripping up the flow, and I would be a better GM if
We're
I
gonna shoot
did
at him
that.
again with the darts. Same one as we've been targeting the entire time.
Alright, let's see if you can take it down this time. You fire your darts off twice, you hit it one time. Let's hope
There's nothing in the damage box.
for your dart. Oh shit. How many darts have you fired off?
Oh, it's in the pistol. I think I've been doing that wrong. Hold on.
Your bonus is the same when you use darts or pistol. Uh, I'm gonna assume you meant to have been firing your pistol though, because you said needler
Yeah.
pistol. So you can do the damage from the you can just drag the damage, and then next time just roll the right weapon. All right, so you deal 4 damage to this robot. It's sparking pretty heavily now, but still seems to be hovering.
So I got my 2 bonus. I got my laser gun out. I'm shooting my laser. I'm missing. I'm crying about it. And well, Quonks is cussing about missing. Mako moves up and does an attack.
Okay. And hits this robot. This is the one that fired the grenade at you guys. Dealing 6 damage. This too is sparking pretty heavily, and looks like these things are both on their last legs right now. They won't be able to contain you. Gaz, you're up.
Alright, this corner one that's sparking, we're gonna shoot him full attack.
Okay, you don't get the... Okay, yeah, full attack. That makes sense. Go ahead. And fire over Quonks' shoulder twice, hitting it both times. Once a critical hit. Roll that damage. We need to roll critical, so that one is just 1d4. So basically, roll damage. You did it. Yep, there you go. Perfect. So it looks like, and you rolled max damage on that, just the one attack. And this robot explodes in air, and you're still firing, getting that second attack off. And darts are kind of flying everywhere. Or, sorry, electricity is flying everywhere. But that robot is dead. Number 2. The remaining robot turns and attempts to slam Nako.
No.
But unfortunately it misses. Decoil, you're up. Is your Discord acting up, Decoil?
No, I was
You just
checking
taking...
something.
Oh, okay.
His movement is 30. So we're gonna get a little crazy and we're gonna go up and right beside him and hit him with.
Also, Decoil comes running up and swings at this robot in the air.
Full 6-arm overhead swipe.
So I want to note something because this is pretty great. You guys know I love to obsess over these, lore and all the crap behind it. And so Decoyo, running with all 6 arms and really putting all effort into it. Skittermanders have a term for that, and it's called all 6. So after something like that, Decoyo would have said, like if you discussed that in the future, you would be like, hey, I really gave all 6 in that. But that's a little bit of Skittermander fun facts for you guys. Hope you viewers like my Skittermander fun facts. Please tune in every other
Going 6
Tuesday
deep. I
and
got
every
you.
other Wednesday, and I will give you Skittermander facts every time.
Oh, let me pass the turn. My bad.
You're good. I'm gonna do my move to do another focus and throw another shot up.
Okay. So you hit it. Let's see if this destroys it. Oh, most definitely. So your exocortex focuses in, your crosshair hits this guy, and you fire off, and your shot flies true, and the robot explodifies. You guys are no longer in combat. And then, if this was like a campaign that was lasting a while, we would look at the party sheet, and I would award, or I would drop the 600 XP, is what you guys earned, into the party sheet, and then distribute it, and then everybody gets 150 XP.
Cool. So, does it take time to use the resolve to heal, or can I just pop that right now?
It takes 10 minutes, but if you guys want to take 10 minutes to do that, you can surely try to do that.
Nako kind of has to. He took 4 HP damage in that, so I think he.
Okay, so the way that you do this is going to be the first time we've done this. We did this once in my other session, but I think we did it wrong. So what I want you to try and do is on the bottom of your character sheet, there's like 3 little buttons, and the middle one should spend a resolve point to restore all of your stamina. Perfect. Boom. Automation. Love it. And anybody else that has stamina damage can do that as well if you guys, if you guys are all taking 10 minutes. But as you guys settle in and take a couple moments, Nako sits down and, flops down to rest. But you guys get just a couple seconds, and then all of a sudden, the intercom kind of crackles, and you hear, "Attention passengers, this is M2, your ship's artificial intelligence. Scans indicate that a handful of pets have escaped their cages and are running loose. If you spot one of these errant animals, please contact the nearest porter robot. Thank you." And it kind of crackles and then cuts out.
Quonks is gonna reprogram this racist robot.
Alright. Quonks, Gazigaz, Dekoyo, do any of you guys spend a resolve point to rest here? Or just Nako? Oh, I got all sorts of Skitternander facts.
I know Quonks has it.
Okay. So you guys, this room is, it's got a couple cages, which appear to be pet cages, but none of them are occupied. There's a couple crates, and upon further inspection, they're pretty small. They seem to be empty. And then the kind of holographic flickering sign that says "Welcome guests" over the door on the starboard side.
Yeah, that is the direction we want to start heading.
So does Nako just tread over there and open the door?
Yep.
Alright, Nako. You open this door and you see an empty hallway with a doorway towards the floor in the distance. And then you see, not quite perfectly aligned, a door both on the port and starboard side of this hallway, about midway through.
I want to do port first.
Alright. Are your other 3 following?
Slowly, yep.
Slowly but surely.
Dekoyo's going first, Gazzy's still working on the beard,
Mhm.
trying to find the one singed hair.
All right, so this door, it looks unlocked. Do you just walk up and open it?
Yeah.
There we go. So wooden panels line the walls of this cozy room. You see an emerald green rug in a couple spots on the floor, two wooden tables, each adorned with decks of shiny playing cards. They're surrounded by comfortable chairs. Two digital dartboards hang on the forward wall in the other corner. And a hollow billiards table, its holographic balls glowing serenely, occupies one of the aft corners. A closed cabinet stands in the final corner of the room.
I am not interested in this room.
Being curious, I'll just take a look real quick.
All right, Gazzy Gaz, give me a perception check. It looks like Nako, you head over and open this other door while Gazzy Gaz peers around in there.
The Koyo is gonna kind of stand in the middle so I can see both people, both rodents, skidamanders,
Critters.
critters. There you go.
All right,
Be able to see.
so Gazzy Gaz, you look around in this room and you find something under one of the tables. There is uh, this dart. Um, and you look at it, when you pick it up, it's got a little bit of a glow to it. You recognize that it's got a fusion on it, which is like in this universe, that's like a weapon enhancement type thing. Uh, so you recognize this to be a dart with the returning fusion on it, which means essentially it's a cheater's dart. You can throw this dart and it'll come back to you. Kind of a boomerang dart.
Gotcha.
You should see that on your character sheet and as an attack. Now, and now it gives you the right bonuses. Nako, so are you just opening this door while Gazagaz is peering around in this room?
That is right.
Okay, so you open this door. First thing you see, just like the last room, smooth wooden flooring and paneled walls, giving this chamber a nice air of elegance that is immediately countered by the obvious mess and rank smell of body odor and other foulness. In the aft part of the room is a bar made from real mahogany. In the front of the bar are several stools, and behind it you see the non-functioning husk of a bartender robot and an unmarked door. Half a dozen tables and accompanying chairs are pushed against the forward wall to make room for a bunch of makeshift cots. Nako, you see, a good dozen people in this room, and when you open the door, and it seems like you're looking kind of just really kind of rushing from room to room. So I assume you've got your Doshko in hand, and you're just kind of almost kicking in the door. So you do this, and you see this Lashunta step forward with a pistol in her hand, and she aims it at you, and she says, "Not another step."
I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna say to her, "I'm looking for a big version of me. Yeah. Let me know where you answer. I'm going through you."
Okay.
With the obvious intent of intimidating.
Yeah, go ahead and roll. So here's what I want you to do.
No.
That's fine because
He's as intimidating as like a what is it, 2 foot tall thing.
So, some roles, if you like intimidate maybe sometimes, but like more, this would be more applicable to stealth roles. I would think a lot of times um,
Yeah.
are useful to roll, and it's beneficial for like the players to not know the outcome of those rolls, right?
Okay.
So, if you look in the bottom right, uh, just to the left of where it says token, there's a dice tower. So sometimes I'll have you roll and you'll drag and drop it into the dice tower, and it'll roll it
Gotcha.
just to me. However, in this case, I like this. So you, oh man, you poor sap, too. Because that one's a 22, I'll just be honest.
What's that?
I said that's well, I put it in there as a negative 22, but that was a
Oh.
22, the tower roll. But so you go in there and you say you'll come through her, and when you say that, a couple individuals, one human and one Yosoki, step up next to her, and they've both got, the Yosoki's got like two busted pool cues in his hand, and the human has like a table leg, and she says, I think we've had enough violence here. I haven't seen anyone else in days. What are you doing here?
I just said I'm looking for the bigger version of me.
Well, I've not seen any disgusting little creature like you.
Well, then good day. And I shut the door.
All right. Quonks?
I,
Oh,
then
sorry.
he points at Quonks and like points at the door. And Quonks is gonna try to rig up one of his grenades so that if the door opens, it blows up.
Can we get out of the hallway before you kill us?
Yeah, I mean optional.
The dart did not show up for Ghazi.
In your inventory, it didn't?
Let me see. What did you name it?
Cheater's dart?
Oh, there it is.
And then it should show up under your. Oop. I made it go away, but I'll get it showing up. There we go. It'll show up on your attacks now. It should.
Yeah, there we go. Would he know if it's one of the darts that Dekoyo could shoot? Or have it to look like that same type of dart? Or is it more like a throwing dart?
Yeah, this is like a throwing dart that somebody would use to cheat at darts.
Right on.
You could put somebody's eye out.
Yeah. I would say with some modification and a decent like engineering roll, if you took like 10-15 minutes, you might be able to get it to work the way I think you're thinking of trying to make it work, to where it would like return to Decorio. Anyway, so we have Quonks here trying to rig up like a grenade on this door. Why don't you give me an engineering check for this trap, I guess, that you're building?
Mm-hmm.
Roll that in the tower. Okay. So you rig up this grenade to this door so that if the door opens, it explodes. You're fairly confident in it.
No, yeah, no. Quonks is very confident in it. He identified a problem and fixed it.
So you guys have one remaining door here on the towards the fore of the ship. Man, these guys are going
Yep.
fast tonight. I think we're gonna stop as they get into combat
Door
here.
comes open.
All right. Let me go. Alright, so you open this door. The first thing you see is what you don't see, really. You see the first of the first bit of two different rows of what appear to be circular seating. Um, but looking above Nako, at a glance, you see that the dome looks to be made of transparent aluminum, but there's something blocking the view. Um, you see just to the aft and starboard, a short ways into the room, there are two pedestals. On top of each of these pedestals is a large chunk of onyx, and this onyx seems to be exuding some this darkness. Really, this room is a lot dimmer than it should be, with even the light coming from the hallway behind you seemingly looks almost to be kind of pulled both to aft and starboard towards these pedestals, I guess.
So
And
we
you
got a
can't,
couple of dark suckers in here, or light suckers.
yeah, you can't see all the way across this room. You can only see about halfway across this room. It's very dark in here.
And you were going to say something else, or I interrupted.
No, that's all I was saying. It's
Okay.
very dark in here, and so you can only see about 20, 25 feet. So what do you guys do? I feel like this session is kind of flopping, and I don't know why.
We have
I'm
any
not
type
sure.
of toy?
Yeah, is there any like light source on our armor?
Starfinder is a very item-centric game. So does any of you have a flashlight? I was running
Nope.
on like no sleep when I built these characters, so I don't know.
So can I use the mirror and kind of reflect the light from the hallway into the dark room?
I like it.
Okay. Yeah, so Gaz, you step into, kind of step into the doorway, and you try and reflect this light. Go ahead and give me a perception check.
You want it in the tower or in
Nope,
chat?
just do it in chat. Unless I specify the tower, just assume you do it in the chat. Okay, so it kind of hurts your eyes, gives you a little bit of a headache, really, but you do manage to, climbing up onto Nako's shoulders. You get like right up to the light and are reflecting it directly into this room. And you look and you see that it goes into this room and bends starboard towards the pedestal.
Oh, that's different.
I'm gonna Conks is gonna grab like a small bolt or just like some inconsequential piece of this repair kit and throw it in there and see if it if mass also performs the same way, or it's only.
No, it flies into the darkness onto the other side of the room. You hear it hit.
Gentlemen, what we have here seems to be a singularity. I think maybe I'm going to make some sort of knowledge check, and I can see if this is part of the engine, if we're expecting to have a black hole in the middle of a ship, or if this is wildly unexpected. Is it engineering or physical science or something else?
If you're trying to investigate like black hole type stuff, that would be physical science, yes.
Specifically, I just want to know like what I know about ship designs.
Yeah, I'd say physical science too.
So
Like that general kind of wide swath of knowledge would be physical science. Try again, but roll physical science.
Oh, sorry.
All good.
Yes, she does not like mouse 3, which is my push to talk. It switches tabs on me whenever I
Oh,
talk and click.
I see. All right. Um, so you look at it, and from what you can tell, this, because you see the light coming from this hallway and almost kind of seeming to split two ways, it doesn't meet any bounds of like normal physical science that you would recognize. It seems to be something other than what normal science explains.
Oh, okay.
Probably
So,
more up DeCoyo's alley.
more of what?
You think it'd be more up like DeCoyo's alley, or maybe Gazzy Gaz,
Uh,
somebody who knows, a bit of magic.
yeah. Gotcha. Somebody broke the rules of the universe, so mages, what do you?
Yep.
So was anything said to them about that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. He's been thinking out loud the whole time.
Alright, I'll step up to investigate also.
Okay, why don't you give me a mysticism check, DeCoyo? Whew, that's a good one. You barely made it. So you step up and you look around. You peer inside of this room, DeCoyo, and you notice you recognize a couple things. This darkness is not natural. In these onyx pedestals seem to be some sort of magical source sustaining it. You feel like you could probably shut that source down somehow if you could get close enough. However, you also notice, maybe with a little bit of a grin, to the irony of Quonks' statement about singularity. There is some sort of planar eddy in the middle of this room. Kind of you catch it kind of swirling a little bit and reflecting just a little bit of light in some areas and kind of absorbing almost a little more darkness in other areas. But when you recognize this, you also see 12 eyes glowing in the darkness here, uh, and that's, I think, where we're gonna stop, and we will pick this up here in 2 weeks.
Cool.
We will have at least another player, Eric, sorry, from work, will join in on our next Tuesday game, and then be a regular player. But if
Okay.
either of you guys know of somebody who may want to join in on a campaign, um, I'm more than welcome to take suggestions. This is the first time I've ever had trouble filling seats. I don't understand.
Yeah, it happens, man. Happens to the best of us.
It's weird though. Like normally you have like 12 people that are all clamoring. It might be because it's a different rule set or something.
Yeah, everything else you do is 5e.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, this is a good chance to get in and learn another game and another rule.
Yeah.
yeah.
Unfortunately, it is pulled from Pathfinder, and a lot of people dislike the monotony of the Pathfinder rule. I
There
mean,
is,
it's cut down a lot from what I've seen because I've played Pathfinder also.
Yeah.
yeah. There's not nearly the math. So I've read through the adventure path that you guys are going to be running down. Um, there's, I think, 6 books, and I've read through book 4, and reading like how progression works. It's very interesting because you do get class abilities, and I'm not discounting those in the slightest. But whereas in like your traditional, it seems like all really fantasy type games, that's where pretty much I'd say 75% of your power comes from is your class and your class abilities. Whereas in Starfinder, it seems to be that it is much more skewed towards your items and the weapons and armor that you're buying, almost to be even equal. Thank you for
See,
coming. I
Pathfinder is
appreciate
kind of the same way though.
you watching. See, I've only
It's
listened to some podcasts. Tell me more about like how like is Pathfinder pretty item centric too? Thank you for coming,
definitely. I
Slide.
mean, it's
Appreciate
very
you
difficult
watching,
starting out
sticking around.
until you get some
I'll
good
go ahead and
good items.
end the stream here. But
Yeah, I've heard
thank you for
that
coming.
before.
I
That
appreciate it.
the way that it's balanced, that having magical +2 and eventually plus higher items, if you don't get them, you have a crippled character.